Picture this. The last bite of cake is gone, the music's faded, and the guests have all left. Your party's over. But wait, there's an after party, only this one's a bit different. Think less disco ball, more decomposition. Yep, death is the ultimate RSVP to the big sleep, and trust me, the after party is one for the books. Or should I say, for the bugs. It's all perfectly natural, though not exactly cocktail party conversation. But on a serious note, death, as much as we try to avoid the topic, is the ultimate equalizer. It comes for us all, and what happens next is a fascinating, albeit slightly morbid journey of science and nature. So buckle up, buttercups, as we delve into the nitty-gritty of what happens after we shuffle off this mortal coil. The moment the final curtain falls, our cells, those tiny biological wonders, are left scrambling. Without oxygen, the party's officially over for them, and they begin to break down in a process called autolysis. Think of it as a cellular self-destruct sequence, only without the dramatic Hollywood explosions. First on the scene is rigor mortis, that stiffening effect we've all heard about. It's like your muscles decide to have one last hurrah, locking up tight due to a buildup of certain chemicals. Don't worry, it's temporary, lasting only about 24 to 72 hours. After that, things loosen up and the real fun begins. Meanwhile, gravity, that relentless force, gets to work. Blood, no longer circulating, starts to pool in the lower parts of the body, a process known as livor mortis. It's why those areas take on a purplish hue, nature's way of giving us a post-mortem makeover, I suppose. But the most critical change happens internally. Our gut, home to trillions of bacteria, becomes a hotbed of activity, producing gases like methane and hydrogen sulfide. Remember that gut bacteria we talked about? Well, they don't mess around. As they feast on our departed cells, they release enzymes that essentially start digesting us from the inside out. It's called putrefaction, and it's not pretty, but hey, it's efficient. As those gases build up, the body starts to swell, sometimes to comical proportions. The skin, once a barrier between us and the world, now stretches taut like a drumhead ready to burst. And burst it might, releasing those pent-up gases in a symphony of, shall we say, unpleasant aromas. But hold your nose for a moment, because amidst the stench, there's a valuable lesson in ecological recycling. All those gases and fluids released during decomposition, they're nutrient-rich cocktails packed with nitrogen, phosphorus, and other goodies. Let's address the elephant in the room, or rather, the pungent aroma emanating from the dearly departed. Yes, death has a distinct smell, but it's not necessarily what you think. It's not just rotting flesh, it's a complex cocktail of over 400 volatile organic compounds, each with its own unique scent. Some of these compounds, like cadaverine and putrescine, are the real stink bombs, responsible for that characteristic death smell. But others have surprisingly pleasant aromas, like hexanol, which smells like freshly cut grass. Even the most unpleasant odors serve a purpose. They act as beacons, attracting a whole host of creatures that play a crucial role in the decomposition process. From flies to beetles to microscopic organisms, each plays its part in breaking down the body and returning its nutrients to the environment. As decomposition progresses, things get a little, shall we say, messy. Remember that taut skin we talked about? Well, it's not going to hold forever. As gases build up and internal organs liquefy, the skin loosens, eventually slipping off the body like a loose-fitting suit. It's not a pretty sight, but it's all part of the natural process. And besides, once the skin's out of the way, it's open season for all sorts of critters eager for a taste of the decomposing buffet. Maggots, those wriggling larvae of flies, are particularly fond of this stage, feasting on the nutrient-rich fluids and tissues. Don't be grossed out, though. These little critters are essential to the decomposition process, breaking down organic matter and recycling nutrients back into the environment. It's not unusual for a decomposing body to swell to twice its normal size, especially in warmer temperatures, which speed up the process. This messy, smelly process is a testament to the interconnectedness of life and death, a reminder that even in death, we're contributing to the circle of life. Remember those volatile compounds released during decomposition? They're like a siren song to a whole host of critters, from flies and beetles to mites and nematodes. Each species is attracted to a particular stage of decomposition and brings its own set of tools to the table, or rather, the corpse. Flies, for example, are early birds, arriving within minutes of death to lay their eggs. Their offspring, those wriggling maggots, are decomposition machines, consuming soft tissues and accelerating the breakdown process. And don't even get me started on carrion beetles, those undertakers of the insect world, who bury carcasses and lay their eggs, ensuring their offspring have a ready-made food source. These critters aren't just indulging in a gruesome feast, they're providing a valuable ecological service. By breaking down organic matter, they're releasing nutrients back into the soil, fertilizing the ground for new life to grow. And it's not just insects that play a role in decomposition. Bacteria, fungi, and other microorganisms join the party, feasting on the remaining tissues and breaking down complex molecules into simpler ones. As the weeks turn into months, the soft tissues gradually disappear, leaving behind a skeleton, the last vestige of our physical existence. But even bones, those seemingly inert structures, undergo their own transformation in the afterlife. Over time, bones are weathered by the elements, exposed to rain, wind, and sunlight. Microorganisms, those ever-present agents of decomposition, colonize the surface, breaking down organic matter and leaving behind a porous, brittle structure. Depending on the environment, bones can take anywhere from a few years to centuries to decompose completely. In acidic soils, for example, bones can dissolve relatively quickly, while in dry, arid conditions, they can persist for millennia, serving as silent witnesses to the passage of time. Forensic anthropologists can examine skeletal remains to determine age, sex, ancestry, and even cause of death, providing valuable insights into the lives of those who came before us. From ancient burial rituals to modern-day museums, bones have long captivated our imaginations, serving as reminders of our mortality and our connection to the past. As the final remnants of our physical form break down, they release their constituent elements back into the environment. Calcium from our bones, nitrogen from our proteins, phosphorus from our DNA, these essential nutrients are recycled, nourishing the soil and supporting new life. Our bodies, once teeming with life, become part of the very fabric of the earth, contributing to the growth of plants, trees, and even other animals. It's a reminder that death, while the end of our individual existence, is not the end of our matter or our energy. This cycle of life, death, and renewal is fundamental to the balance of nature. Every organism, from the smallest bacterium to the largest whale, plays a role in this intricate web of life. And while we may not like to think about it, our own deaths are an integral part of this process. So, the next time you're feeling down about your own mortality, take a moment to appreciate the beauty and elegance of decomposition. Here's a fun fact. Did you know that the speed and manner of decomposition can be influenced by a whole host of environmental factors? Take temperature, for example. Heat speeds things up like a microwave for corpses. That's why bodies decompose faster in warmer climates. Cold temperatures, on the other hand, slow things down, acting like a freezer, preserving those dearly departed for longer. Humidity also plays a role. Moist environments accelerate decomposition, while dry conditions can lead to mummification, a process that preserves tissues and inhibits bacterial growth. It's like nature's version of jerky making, only not as tasty. And then there's burial practices. Traditional burial, with its cozy coffins and concrete vaults, slows down decomposition. Cremation, on the other hand, speeds things up considerably, reducing the body to ashes in a matter of hours. And then there's composting, a relatively new option that turns your dearly departed into nutrient-rich soil. Talk about going green. The speed and manner of decomposition can be influenced by a whole host of environmental factors. Death, with all its messy, smelly realities, can be a tough pill to swallow, but maybe, just maybe, if we can find a way to laugh about it, to approach it with a sense of curiosity rather than fear, it won't seem so scary. After all, death is the ultimate equalizer. It comes for us all, regardless of our wealth, status, or beliefs. It's a reminder that our time on this earth is finite, precious, and not to be wasted. So let's embrace the absurdity of it all. Let's marvel at the intricate processes that break down our bodies, returning us to the earth. Let's find humor in the bloating, the bugs, and the sheer strangeness of it all. And most importantly, let's live our lives to the fullest, knowing that our time here is limited. Let's make the most of every moment, laugh often, love deeply, and leave this world a little bit better than we found it. Because in the end, that's all that really matters. So, there you have it, folks. A glimpse into the fascinating, albeit slightly morbid, world of decomposition. It's not a pretty picture, but it's a vital part of the circle of life, a reminder that death is not an end, but a transformation. Our bodies, once teeming with life, become nutrients for the soil, supporting new life and contributing to the intricate web of ecosystems that make up our planet. We are all connected, in life and in death, part of something much larger than ourselves. So the next time you find yourself contemplating your own mortality, remember this: death is not the end, just a new beginning, a chance to return to the earth and become part of something truly extraordinary. And hey, if you're lucky, maybe a few flies will throw a party in your honor. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a sudden urge to go plant a tree.